Hey guys, Barry Mankin here with Four Corners Home Inspections. Just wanted to talk to you about a new home, and we do lots of new home construction inspections. So right before you buy a brand new house, a third party to come in to advocate for you and make sure everything is just perfect. It's what we do. All right, so we're advocating for you. We're looking for inconsistencies with code violations, that sort of thing, even though we don't know specific codes to this location in this instance. We do look for safety hazards that are oftentimes related to those codes. So we see stuff all the time, and since we haven't, I don't think we've done a video on a new build, so we're just going to look at some of these deficiencies, go over them, and show you why they're important, and why, even if you have a house that's only 2 years old, why you should get an inspection. All right, we're on the ladder here in the attic space. Attic didn't look too bad. However, right here, if you can see, that is a screw attaching this ladder. And if you look down here, safety first, on these inspections, it'll tell you that the only attachment should be for nails. So you should only have a 16-penny nail. The shear strength for the lateral load on these is quite different as it relates to what a screw can do and what a 16-penny nail could do. So they have different ratings for strength. These are supposed to be attached with nails. So we have a deficiency here with that. One thing just to note, you see this little thing of insulation here. This is called a tent. So basically, a lot of times what we find is these areas, these openings right here, are not insulated. So you always want to check. This is your biggest void in your ceiling. Even if you have a scuttle hole hatch or something like that, you want to make sure that if you have a stairwell like this, that you've got it properly insulated. It's no different than your wall not being insulated, right? So we're gonna shut this up. We're gonna take a look over here in this area. We have another area of access. This door is solid, and you can see you've got your weather stripping. So you treat this just like the exterior of your home, all right? So if you don't have this level of quality, you want to make sure that you're not losing your energy this way. You can see where we've got great insulation here, with the exception of this area. So you can see where the insulation is falling down. The insulation on the walls, whenever it gets compromised and it's not attached properly, it can fall. And if that falls, you're losing the energy out that wall. It's just drywall and the exterior. Another thing you want to look for, again, we're thinking of building science, how moisture gets into the home, how it draws moisture just from the process of pressurization in the house. We want to have an extra vapor barrier on these walls. Typically, you do have some paper on the back side, but typically you want to have something like that just as an extra measure of safety. It's really no different than having it on the exterior of your envelope, where you have the cladding or the siding. You have that building paper right there. It's really meant for condensation to allow it to breathe properly. And in the attic spaces, it's not as common, except in new builds. You're going to see that more in new builds. So we want to see that on here. Obviously, they're dictated by the local codes, and that's something that we can't determine at this point, just because we're all over the city, and they change in different areas, especially as it relates to something like this as opposed to a safety issue. So it would be an improvement. We would recommend that as an improvement. And if you have your home is older and it doesn't have these improvements, it's something else you can think about. Another thing that we deal with all the time, these child safety locks on these windows. You can see where they're spring loaded, right? Most of them are going to actually inset, and they're on a spring system to where they stay in, so that when you lift this window from here, it doesn't break these, which is typical. The other thing, so they're going to need adjustment, basically, is the problem. They don't stay in properly. So they need to be activated or be able to be deactivated. And a lot of times they're missing too, which we do have some missing ones in this home. So something else to look for on your newer builds. So if you notice this window, there's a level on there. I don't know if you can see, but it's just slightly tilting off to the left-hand side. We're looking at our bubble. And I don't know if you can see that. But I've been told this before, I'm about a half bubble off. Dad joke. All right, so here's one of those missing, or two of those missing child safety measures on the windows missing there, so we need to get that adjusted. Also, speaking of child safety, these rails, they may be approved, I doubt it, but if they're approved in this area, we still call it out as a safety issue as a home inspector because a child can climb on these horizontal railings. Typically, you're going to have a vertical railing out there so a child can't get his foot up on there and climb up that area. You're going to see stuff like this in the bathrooms, just drains missing at the bottom, different areas that are not attached, but those are small things. The builder gets those all the time. This window, if you look at this atrium over here, we did take a thermal image of that window, and that window had a little bit of moisture potentially at the top. The reason we checked that is because the exterior of that window had some compromised flashing and compromised wood around the side where they've kind of gooped it up on the back end. But there's already been some damage. It's a brand new home. So it's been sitting here. They knew they had a leak. They took care of it on the outside, but they should have replaced it. So we're going to have them do that. And then maybe just a couple more things. It's just typical stuff that we see all the time. We're going to check your HVAC. Let's look at this guy. Electrical outlets. This guy is loose. I see that all the time on a new build. Outlets here are either loose or they have some other issues with grounding. Open grounds or something like that. Most of the time, they're in good shape, but typically what we'll see is on a new build is either a loose outlet or an uneven outlet, which is more of an aesthetic. But one thing that we do that's a little bit different than the next guys, on a new build with Four Corners Home Inspections, we check every single window, we check every single outlet, we check every single door, which we had some door adjustments upstairs. And that's just over and above the standards that the state requires us to do. We're required to do a representative number in every room, which is 1. But on a new build, the way we do business, we want to make sure that we're checking every single thing for you all. And that way, at your year end, maybe that helps you so you don't have issues that you have to deal with all year and then wait for the builder to come later to repair. So these issues for your first year, hopefully, are taken care of on the front end when you have a good home inspection. So you're going to see things like this. You're going to see things like areas under the cabinets. These are just small things where the holes are not, they're over drilled, so that the cover doesn't cover the holes properly. Little things like that, all right? So I hope this helps on a new build. We do have some safety issues here, right? We do have some roofing issues out here, window issues. So all of these things matter on a brand new home or a home that's only a couple years old. So make sure that you get a good home inspection. Let's get these details knocked out so that you don't have problems down the road or anything immediate as it relates to safety. Okay? Stay safe out there. Just by the way, we do have our protection since I don't have my mask and my gloves on this video. We do have it for the next inspection. So we have all of our personal protection. We're going to be suited up because we're going to be in somebody's home. This is a vacant home. So we are in a lot better shape. We don't have anybody around. Hopefully that helps. Get a good home inspection. Stay safe. Thanks for watching.